Okay, buddy, here we go. It's first of all, Shannon, you out there? I see you. Can you hear me all right? Usually you're the one that gets in here and lets me know that we're okay. It looks like we're slow. I'm having problems. That's why I got this live stream set up a little late. Thank you. I appreciate this, but there's something little wrong here. All right, look, guys and girls, let's put that aside. We have a lot of stuff to cover. Something is hitting me the wrong way, and I mean the wrong way with regard to this issue with JP Morgan. It doesn't seem like much looking at what's going on at face value, and I'll cover that in just a second. But there's something else going on, and you and I are going to talk more about that, quite obviously. All right, look, so let's just start off with this. Let me get my head on straight real quick how this market played out today. With regard to actually, it's funny. I have a print out. Give me 1 second. Let me look at this real quick. All right, so the major market indices basically did nothing. Dow flat, S&P 500 slight gain, very slight gain here for the Nasdaq. Thank you, Giuseppe. I appreciate that. 10-year yield rising. 10-year yield rising here. Not a pretty place to be in this environment. Let's see what happens. It just seems like every time this gets out of control, in comes the cavalry. Bam! We dropped 10 basis points. We actually did drop 10 basis points with regard to the 10-year yield last week. It was an epic move. Gold, silver, and crude oil catching a bid. Now, I want to show you Bitcoin and cryptos here. Look at some of these. Pretty substantial drops. Now, with regard to Bitcoin, which is the mommy, there seems to be a hard bottom here. All right. You see my hand? Around 92. We spoke about this a while back. Every time we hit 92, we seem to bounce. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but I'm saying that there seems to be a floor there at 92. I believe sincerely, as I've always said, we are eventually going to get an implosion on a scale. Again, I can't even get my head around it myself with regard to the debt market, which is going to erase the stock markets of the world. And I mean erase them. And cash is just going to move into other assets from one reality into another reality. It's going to go into commodities massively. These are real, tangible things. And it's going to end up into cryptocurrencies as well. In my view, it just seems too easy just to understand the flow of cash, how it works through the markets. Now, I want to touch on, again, a lot of things, and I want to talk about this JP Morgan issue. But let's start off with some basic news. So I'm going to show you what a little bit of a deception here looks like. And I'm not saying this is not a real thing, but there's more to it than meets the eye. So this is CNBC. U.S. home builders raise alarm over tariffs as sentiment falls to 5-month low. I am not saying that tariffs are not going to hit you and me right in the pocketbook, and probably substantially. Going to happen. But the issue here is affordability. Home affordability is at a historic record all-time low. People can't survive. Sound familiar to you? That's really what's going on. And just to push this point home, this is today. This is Fox Business. Look at this headline. America's credit card and household debt reaches an all-time high. Then we'll cover Bloomberg in just a second. But let's start off with Fox Business. So American household debt levels, including credit cards, rose to a new all-time record high, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Like they don't know this. You got to be kidding me. They're doing this deliberately. They're forcing people to borrow and borrow and borrow more cash into existence. You understand that's how it works, right? When people can't survive, they have to go out and take out loans and borrow. And then when they borrow and take out a loan, that cash, poof, just magically appears on a screen. It's not there initially prior to the loan. You understand? It's a crazy situation. So the reports show that overall household debt increased by $93 billion to over 18 trillion. Now, Bloomberg, at the same time you got this going on, U.S. consumer debt delinquency hits its highest level in almost 5 years. The share of outstanding U.S. consumer debt in delinquency rose to its highest level in almost 5 years, also according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. And they are gleeful about this, quite obviously. What did they tell you? Slavery. This is slavery to their system, dependency on their system. You understand? This, my friends, is not going to stop. Let us move forward before we talk about JP Morgan, because I want to dedicate some time to that. Now, if you remember, last week, President Trump floated out an idea to Zelensky over there, Ukraine, saying, hey, listen, if you agree, Zelensky agreed, to give us, the United States, a 50% shareholding in your rare earth metals, we will send, President Trump said he will send the U.S. military over there to guard or protect these rare earth minerals, materials, whatever. Is that something you want? Do you want more U.S. troops anywhere? Or do you want to bring you want to close some of these bases? Okay, I think that's probably and this is just insanity, but okay. But again, so this looks like this is getting revived here. The U.S. and Ukraine could still secure minerals in a deal that's positive for both sides. Okay, whatever. Look, man, I understand this is a resource problem. I've been telling you guys and girls that we're going to face a resource issue on a scale you're not going to believe, biblical. That's being set up. It's in our face here. This whole thing about Gaza, this whole thing about Ukraine is really about resources, because they understand. We're going to face a moment where resources will not be attainable. Forget about rare earth metals. I'm talking about basic necessities to live. Why? We're living under the greatest threat to humankind in the history of the world that we've never seen. And that's not just here in the United States. It's a global debt bubble. That global debt bubble bursts, everything locks up. It freezes, credit freeze. The flow of credit through the system stops. All transactions stop. Could you imagine what that means? Again, all these executive orders, all well and good. Let's do this one, let's do that one, let's do the other one. How about saving the system, President Trump? How about, really, honestly, I'm going to say it again, executing your right, sir, as President of the United States, to back the dollar or the currency with gold. Yeah, we wouldn't even have to audit the Fed, although we should anyway. Oh, let's talk about auditing the Fed. How many of you remember this nonsense or Fort Knox? Trump's last tenure, he sent Mnuchin out there to go make sure the gold was there. You remember that? Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. So in 2017, he said the gold was safe. It's freakishly well secured. Lyons, during Trump's last tenure, he sent the U.S. Treasury, his U.S. Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, the man is a creature of the highest order, to see if the gold at Fort Knox was there. Well, he came out and said, hey, the gold is there. And it's freakishly secured. That's not me. That's what he said. Were we lied to then? Are we going to get lied to again? You know we are. Do you think any of this is real? Really? You think it's real what you're being told and this Doge and everything? You really believe all that? They could probably say anything if you believe all that. It's not real. All right. No forensic audits have been done. Zero. Okay. They're just trying to, again, look, man, I am not saying that fraud and theft and misallocation of funds hasn't happened. It surely has. But it would take more than a couple of hours or a day or a week or a month or even 6 months to do a real forensic audit. And that's really what we need here with the Fed. But more so, we need to end this organization. If President Trump really wanted to do a favor to the people, and not just of the United States, but the people of the world, executive order, just exercise his right to enforce the Gold Reserve Act of 1934. The Gold Reserve Act of 1934 is put there so a president, in this case Trump, could stabilize the economy and the financial system. Is he going to do it? God bless you right back. You think that's going to happen, or are we just going to get, let's sign executive order to go from paper straws to plastic. This really did happen. Make this stuff up. Okay, I'm not saying that all his orders weren't good. Some of them absolutely needed to be done, but some of them were a little bit on the nonsensical side. Why are we ignoring the greatest threat to human life on the planet Earth? That is this financial system. Now let's talk about why I am concerned a little bit here, more so than usual. So we understand the CEO, Jamie Dimon, of the largest bank on the planet by assets, JP Morgan, he's been known to sell obscene amounts of shares from time to time. Now, this is Barron's. JP Morgan offers details on Jamie Dimon's next stock sales. Apparently, this was announced recently, and I was going to be selling 1 million shares. That's not what bothers me. It's not what bothers me here. Believe it or not, that's not what bothers me. What bothers me is we just found out last week that George freaking Soros, okay, you guys don't know who this guy is? Well, you really should. Do like 2 seconds worth of little research into this guy. He's cutting ties with JP Morgan. Why would George Soros be cutting ties with a super bank like this, unless there's something else going on here? Let's back up a moment here. I'm running a little poll. You see the little poll here? Do you believe that the major Wall Street banks are actually solvent? 86% of you believe that they are not solvent. They are not solvent. The entire world financial system is debt-based. It's debt-based. So I have a little surprise for the 10% of you so far that think they are solvent. Okay. The debt-based system means it can only operate in a perpetual vacuum, a black hole. There is no solvency here. These institutions here, these major Wall Street banks, and I've been screaming about this forever here, what's backing up whatever they supposedly have on their balance sheets? I'm going to tell you something else about their balance sheets. They're more than likely negative. They're more than likely negative. And then we don't even have a reserve system anymore. Like I've been telling you, you think those digits on the screen are real and in your brokerage, in your freaking banks? It's not real. These are nothing. They are digits on a screen. They don't exist. They're not on the elemental chart. So understanding that the entire global debt-based system must operate and can only operate in a perpetual deficit. It's debt-based. That's why more and more and more debt must be pulled into the system just to keep the illusion real. And none of this is real anywhere. You know, it's all fake. It's just all fake. The entire system is absolutely insolvent. So that means the banks themselves are insolvent as well. That means we're all insolvent. Do you realize what I'm saying here? And you got, credit card debt, household debt, personal debt, every type of debt you can imagine is skyrocketing out of control because people can't survive. That's the mechanism. Pressure on the people to foster this system here of extreme haves, extreme have-nots, and a wipe out of the middle class. Does this sound about right to you? You see, because this guy has only been explaining this for 10 freaking years longer. And maybe we're making some kind of headway here. But I'm telling you, look, man, when I heard about this, look, man, with this whole thing last week with Soros and JP Morgan, when he came out making the announcement that he was cutting ties with the bank, I said, okay. But then I started to think, all right, so Jamie Dimon's selling another 1 million shares. You know, I don't know. It just kind of hit me the wrong way. What we do understand, let me set the stage for you maybe in another way. These institutions, including JP Morgan, their derivative exposure so vastly outpaces the entire market capitalization of every single major Wall Street bank combined by exponents. Take the market capitalization or the actual worth of every major bank, including all the assets they have, the buildings that they own, whatever else they may have. Take all of that and put it in a pile over here, every single Wall Street bank. Now you weigh that against their derivative exposure. It's like this is what they have here, and their derivative exposure is bigger than the sky. So they're absolutely insolvent institutions. Let me explain to you what really should be happening with Doge and Trump. Send Musk, over to the Wall Street superbanks. Let's have an audit over there. We already understand all of these institutions have been caught red-handed repeatedly over and over and over and over and over in fraud, in this scam, in misallocation of funds, none more so than this one, JP Morgan. JP Morgan repeatedly gets caught. And what do? What happens? They pay a fine. They pay a fine. They pay a fine. The fine that they pay, they already bake it in. You understand? You have to look at it this way. These institutions have think tanks. They think ahead and say, okay, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to get caught doing it. But they're going to, of course, enforce a fine on us. But we're going to make 1,000 times whatever the fine is going to be. So let's just break the law. We know we're only going to get a hand slap. No one's going to take any action, and there won't be a single arrest. Do you see how it works? So that's what really needs to be audited. That's really what we need to see where the fraud is. You want to talk about untold trillions of dollars that should be clawed back? We won't hear about that either. We won't hear about that either. Come on, man. You guys and girls know exactly what I'm talking about. It's absolutely off the freaking Richter scale on such a grand scale. Anyway, look, so what I'm saying is this guy sitting in front of you here has been urging you for years, number one, to stay away from Bank of America. Or maybe it's stay away from JP Morgan too. I don't know. But just get your assets out of Bank of America. This bank is being set up to fail. Period. The end. They all have the same exposure with regard to derivatives. They're all have negative balance sheets. They all operate in a perpetual deficit. That's the system. That's how it works. Again, think of global debt. Think of global debt in this hand, and think of the people in the other hand. Global debt skyrocketing at its pace that we have never seen before in the history of the world. And here, this is not just an American issue. This is an issue around the world. So we have a parallel here. Global debt skyrocketing, public debt in the form of credit cards, any kind of loans that they might have skyrocketing out of control. Do you see what's going on here? It's going to get monumentally worse moving forward as the currency is devalued everywhere. We are not, unfortunately, going to have President Trump exercise the Gold Reserve Act of 1934. I sincerely doubt it. I also doubt that we're going to see higher rates anywhere. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that. We're absolutely broke. You're absolutely right, 100%. Higher rates is what we need, not what I'm not going to say it. What the beautiful, lovely Elizabeth Warren is calling for, and obviously President Trump as well here. This is a destructive mechanism which is meant to wipe out the middle class and, of course, destroy the economy, only to prop up this stock market, which has no bearing whatsoever on reality. And everyone's like, oh, Greg, but hold on. If President Trump starts demanding higher rates, what's going to happen to my investments? Do you think your investments are real? When you look at your investments and they're going up, stock market's near record highs, do you think that what you're looking at is reality? They're digits on a screen. It doesn't exist. It's not on the elemental chart until you sell. And then you turn that into, let's say, cash, unfortunately, and you take that cash and you allocate that into something else. Until you do that, you are nothing. You are paper rich or fake rich, however you want to look. It's not real. This market is going to melt down on us. It's going to super melt down. Like I said this morning, super meltdown at one point, because none of this is real. None of it. It's been built upon oceans of debt. This is a house of cards, people, built over a pool of rocket fuel. It's going to go up. So, oh, Greg, I can't get my investment. Your investments are nothing. Your investments are an illusion, like everything else that you're seeing here. This market is going to go down. If you think you're going to lose now, when this market actually finally does whatever it has to do here, when central banks stop buying all the debt, because they're right now, look, does it just hit you the wrong way? Understanding, and please don't take my word for what I'm about to say. I only tell you this every freaking day. Right now, central banks are the number one issuers and buyers of debt. They have become the lenders and buyers of last resort. People, I've been telling you this for 10 years that this would happen. Here we are. Welcome to the show. Okay. Not only that, these same institutions are buying gold. They're buying gold. They're the number one buyers of gold. They're betting against their own system. I tell you, man, that's it. I don't know another way to say to explain this stuff to you guys anymore. It's really getting to the point of like, I just can't. The system is only functioning because of, again, vast debt expansion. It cannot work. Think about what I'm saying. This illusion that you're in right now, it can only and is only being maintained on the back of vast debt expansion. Can't stop. Global debt out of control. But it's in control because this is central bank's goal to inflate. The more they inflate, the more they devalue the currency, the more dependency on the system, the more people have to borrow to survive, with delinquencies skyrocketing. People, this is in your face. It's in your face. And again, the reason why you guys and girls are not surprised at all is because you knew this. You knew this before. And if you think we're done, those of you that may be new here, we're not done. We're not done at all. It's only going to get much worse moving forward. You understand? So what do? You and I take advantage of everything that comes our way. If we realize the entire system is completely insolvent, that must operate and can only operate in a perpetual vacuum, demanding that more debt be pulled into it just to function, just to maintain this illusion, what are you going to do about it? You're going to sit back and suck your thumb off? No. You're going to, again, bet against the system, become your own central bank. I still say silver is the most undervalued asset the world has ever seen. Based on the Dow gold ratio, gold silver ratio. I've covered this 1,000 gazillion times. What I've said has been probably featured in every freaking publication you can imagine, and then some. And it's going to play out there. Everybody knows it as we're being bridged into a new system, a tokenized system, which we really don't need. We need to go back to a constitutional money system. What I say to any of you that may be new here, does it make sense? Because I know to everyone that's been with me, this is spot on to you, and this is also nothing new. Anyway, that's kind of it, guys and girls. Now, before we get out of here today, anything you want to specifically cover before I let you go? Gold will be 1,000 for later. Yeah, well, you know what? They're not going to tell us, Stephen. They're not going to tell us anything. They didn't tell us the truth last time, and I believe that with regard to Steve Mnuchin. And when Trump sent them out last time, when Trump said Mnuchin last time over to Fort Knox, he said the gold was there. I guess it was true because Trump backed it up and said the gold's there. You really believe it? I don't believe any of this stuff. If they tell me it's there, I don't believe it. If they don't tell me it's there, you know what that means? That means it's probably still there and they're about to reallocate it to their friends in the upper echelon. They might tell you the gold is not there. Meanwhile, it is. Okay. And right now, they're thinking about how they're going to divvy it up. Right now, Elon Musk, Trump, maybe George Soros, who knows? They're in some back room right now saying, okay, let's tell them the gold isn't there. So we can take the gold that is there and we're going to split it up between all of us here. How many of you thought about that? Yeah, it's pretty freakish, isn't it, Lava? Absolutely freakish. Look, man, this is all a game. Everything you're seeing right now. None of it is real, including, again, I am not saying that there has not been fraud, that there has been misallocation of funds. But this can't be done in a day, a week, or even a month. We need a forensic audit to track where the cash went. We still have yet to be shown who's actually responsible. Okay, I understand these things take time. Jonathan, thank you. I already told you what happens if they raise rates, buddy. We would get purchasing power back in the currency, but the market wouldn't like it at all. The market's going to get hit really hard. It's going to get hit even harder without that. Anyway, look, man, so they're lying to you. Understand, when you hear about we found fraud, we found misallocation of funds, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I'm telling you there's been no forensic audit done. They're not pointing fingers at who's responsible. And I'm waiting for the perp walk of not just the flunky down here, of someone up high. You think we're going to be waiting a little long for that to happen? It's astonishing how people believe the lies. Then you tell them the truth. Oh, and they can't stand you for it. They would rather believe the lie than the truth. Does that sound about right to you? I think we're pretty much on the same page. Anyway, that's kind of it, guys and girls. I want to thank you for being here. I really believe we covered a lot of stuff. And I want you to think about what we're saying here. Get out of these institutions. If you have to keep your cash, and you do, unfortunately, because we're forced to participate in these systems, I'm going to say I would have been telling you for 1,000 years. That is what? Put your cash in a credit union. Okay, no derivative exposure here. I'm not saying they're safe, but they're safer in my view. than these obviously completely insolvent major institutions who have, again, the derivative exposure so outpaces the value of all their assets collectively combined. That should tell you something. That really, really should tell you something. And it's pretty disturbing to this guy. Pretty disturbing to this guy. All right, guys. Love you with all I got. I mean that with all I got. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Let's work on these thumbs up. All right. If you get something out of these videos and if I've earned your thumbs up, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. All right. We got 1,300 people here. We only have like 400 thumbs up. It's pretty pathetic. I don't like the turnout that we've had today. It's unfortunate. We do need to get more people to understand these things. And that's where you guys come in. Coco. Coco's floating around out there somewhere, that little creature. Yeah, he's got to go for a walk, which I will be doing soon. Anyway, so share the video, people. Please comment. Let me know what you think about these things that we've spoken about. Let me know if you feel like, I'm outlining things that you feel are important or not. All right. I'll read through the comments as I always say I will, and I do that. All right. You guys and girls are so freaking awesome. I got band practice in about an hour from the time I am doing this. I'm going to go be jamming. And Greg, the drummer, is 3 doors down. Jeffrey, thank you. Wow, bro. Epic, man. You and I, we're going to get back together in the morning, people. And we're so far ahead of the curve on this, man. We've been so freaking far ahead of the curve on all this. I love that. I absolutely freaking love it. All right. I'm out of here. Thanks again, people. Until we meet again, please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, okay? That's all.